Welcome back to 20 Side Adventures. My name's Ryan. This video is just a quick information one for you guys in case you missed it from the Shades of Blood adventure path, because Paizo love to be putting out content. One of my favorite YouTube creators outside of the gaming space is Habitual Line Crosser, and in his videos, the US, as they like to say, be building shit. Well, Paizo like to be creating shit. And you have to keep your eyes out on everything they put out because you could be getting access to new content for your table. And with Battlecry just having released, it's super easy to miss a few things in an obscure adventure path. So today we're going to go through what this adventure path offers for general content that you can use at your table in case you're not necessarily interested in doing the adventure pathing yourself. I'm going to show you how to keep tabs on this sort of stuff through Archetypes of Nethys. And as always, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, please give a like and subscribe down below. And with no further ado, let's get right into it. All right, folks, here we are, Archives of Nethys. A lot of you may just skip past this first page, but you shouldn't, because it gives you all of the updates of what's been transferred and released from Paizo and now free to use on Archives of Nethys. Remember, if you like this stuff, give Paizo a few bucks. They keep churning out tons of things for us. They need our support. Even though we can get the whole game for free, we aren't going to keep getting cool games if we aren't supporting Paizo and picking up some stuff from time to time. So grab a rulebook, grab a player's handbook. If you like adventure paths, they're always churning those out. And then give Archives of Nethys some love. Make sure you're supporting them wherever possible. And let's see all the cool new things. So Battlecry, we're all pretty familiar with Battlecry, but we also got a blog post, Claws of the Tyrant adventure, and the Blot Out the Sun, Broken Palace, and the Thirst for Blood adventure path series. Now, again, a lot of you may be saying, why do I care about adventure paths? Because Paizo be sneaking stuff in to all of their material that you can use for content in your game. So let's get into it. Let's see what we got from Foolish Housekeeping. This was from their April Fool's blog, but it came with some content, and I didn't know about this archetype when I started this video. So not only is it the archetype you didn't know about, it's the two archetypes you didn't know about and the one I didn't know about. The Venture Gossip. So this is basically, you're going to be the Bridgerton gossip columnist. If you want to be that journalist writing the gossip rags in the corner and you have a hidden identity, this is the archetype you've been dreaming of. I know you are so glad to finally have it. Mainly, this gives you an alternate identity, just like the Vigilante, except it's your ghostwriting persona for the crazy gossip articles you're giving. And the dedication out the gate gives you this pretty cool 2-action ability that you get to roll twice and take the better roll whenever you are rolling to influence people. So if you want to be that social character in a party, every time you make an impression or a coercion check or even a gather information check, it's 2 actions, but it's out of combat, so who cares? It's basically, you just get advantage on all of these rolls, and I don't think there's no, there isn't. There's no restrictions on this. You just perpetually get advantage for those of you coming from 5e for all of your social interactions. That's bonkers. It is level 4, so you can't take it right out the gate if you're doing free archetypes, so do keep that in mind. Distracting Flattery we have from the Dandy. Gossip Lore from the Dandy. Hey over here, so it's a reaction. Someone within 30 feet of you rolls a saving throw against an auditory effect. You basically get to start, yelling out different things about all kinds of crazy gossip and stuff going on, and they get to increase their roll by 1 degree of success, and they're immune to it for 24 hours, so once a day per ally. Pretty solid, though. This one, Verbose Distraction, has a reaction. When someone goes to hit you, you basically just start blathering at them like that stereotypical journalist that maybe has upset the person they're interviewing, and you get a +2 bonus to your AC from the triggering attack. It's pretty solid. Fabricate Connections you get from the Dandy. Nothing new there. Party Crasher also from the Dandy. Quick Change from the Vigilante, Read Shibboleths from Linguistic Dedication, so nothing really new there. Subjective Truth from the Vigilante, and then A Little Bird Told Me, so this is a unique one to this archetype where you basically just get to polymorph into a small bird and spy on people. right in line with what this has been doing. Here's 2 from this archetype specifically. Define report, this is a free action. Basically, whenever you fail a deception check to lie, you get to immediately roll a deception check from the editing desk, because that was a big mistake. I meant you get to immediately make a diplomacy check. Back to the regular video. To basically make them not upset that they caught you lying. So pretty solid if you're going to be that kind of face of the party, talking to people and using deception. Catch and kill, this is basically a reactive strike, except on hit, the triggering creature is grabbed, and on a critical hit, they're slowed. So basically, you're just not letting people get away from you because you've got to get the story. Lastly, at 16, muckraking. This one just basically gives you an emotional and verbal diatribe at your enemy. It deals 10d10 mental damage with a basic will save, and on a critical failure, they are off guard until the beginning of your next turn. Now, this should be said, this is an April Fool's joke from Paizo, but it is fully created and available. So if your GM is fine with you using this archetype, it is now available. So you can play that dual persona, gossip column rag writer you have always wanted to play. We get a new familiar, a couple feats, this all goes to the archetype, and then a couple new monsters as well. Again, this is all from their April Fool, so it's all kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's all perfectly usable at your table if your GM likes it. Next up, Claws of the Tyrant. This is a single adventure path. We get a little bit of equipment. This is all unique items, but a lot of times the unique specific items to adventure paths are great resources for GMs to get ideas for creating things in their games. A variety of new feats. These all tend to focus in on archetypes that came from last wall. So Knight Reclaimant, Magambayan Attendant, there's some Halcyon Speaker. So if you play any of these archetypes, they got some new feats. Keep an eye on that. A wide variety of new hazards for the GM, 1 new monster. And if you are interested in some setting articles, we have something in there if you play in Galarian itself. All right, Thirst for Blood. Now this is where we got the archetype this video was meant to be, and this is the Sanguimancer. This is going to let you use some blood magic, basically, and I really liked how they approached this. My world has always had a religion and group of people that deal with blood magic, and I've always had to homebrew it, so I was really excited when I heard about this, and this system works great, and I haven't converted my blood magic to 2nd edition yet from moving over from 1st edition, so I've been able to plug this right in. I've done a little bit of homebrew stuff. If you're interested in some extra feats I've added onto this to augment your magic with blood magic, check that out over on my World Anvil, and let's just get into this archetype. So every 8 hours of rest, you generate a pool of temporary hit points based on your level, and you can never have more than double your level available to you in this pool. So now that doesn't mean you can't have double your level of hit points. It's just any temporary hit points beyond that don't count towards being able to use Sanguimancy's feats. Blood Shield, the first feat, you create a defensive barrier to get a +1 circumstance bonus to AC, +2 if you spend 10 or more Sanguimancy points. So right out the gate, you're spending 1. If you 10x that, so you have to at least be level 10 and you're going to use your whole pool, you get a +2. Don't know if that extra +1 is really worth it. Now, the interesting thing is you can use a shield block reaction with your Blood Shield. The Blood Shield has hardness equal to 4 times the number of Sanguimancy points you spend. While it only requires 1, if you're worried about being able to absorb more with a shield block, spending more can give you a better block option. However, you have to balance that with you expend those temporary hit points, and how are you going to get them back to keep this cycle moving? Pretty interesting. Exsanguinate. This is when you deal an attack, you can gain a number of temporary hit points back equal to half your level that last only till the end of your next turn. So this is if you're playing a more physically focused Sanguimancer to rotate that damage around. Now it does say your attacks, it doesn't say strikes. So anything with the attack action that deals damage, this could work for. Keep that in mind for you casters. Transfusions. This is going to let you use your Sanguimancy for healing. So this one you can spend 5 points and you grant fast healing 1. If you want to increase this, you can spend an additional 5 to increase the fast healing by 1 to a maximum of 8. So if you have a pretty big pool of Sanguimancy, you could get some fast healing going on people. The downside of this doesn't regenerate your temporary hit points, it's your actual hit points. So it doesn't help you keep a constant flow of Sanguimancy points, but it's a good way to get a little bit of healing in there. And then this is if you've always wanted to be like the ultra druggy and throw all of your needles at the enemy. Yes, this gives you a 30-foot emanation where you just blast them with razor-thin needles, and you just share needles in the worst way possible. And yeah, it's really gross. So interesting little archetype, not a lot to it. If you, like I said, jump over to my world anvil, I've created about 6 other feats that plug into this, expending sanguimancy points to increase spell attacks, DC, give yourself spell shapes, augment rituals, because that's all thematically how the shadow elves of my world operate. So it just makes a lot of sense for them. And I was really happy to get this from Paizo and do most of the heavy lifting for me. Some new equipment, some from Ion Stones, some blades that specifically replenish Sanguimancy points, so work really great with the Sanguimancer, and some flowers that do some really interesting things with lycanthropy, because this adventure path all has to do with vampires and werewolves. As I have a vampire werewolf game on the docket after I finish my current one, I was pretty excited to get some of this content. And then the Ion Stone of Repairing, I brought this up with my Guardian. I did not even realize this was a new item, and here it is from an adventure path that came out. So do keep in mind, lots of cool things come from all different angles from Paizo. Couple new hazards, a few new monsters, and another setting article if you play in Galarian to have more lore to use at your table. Second part of this adventure path, we get a new deity, some equipment with some pretty interesting stuff. Most important of which is the Essence Forge, which I'm going to have to make an entire video about this because, my gosh, look at this item. There is so much going on to it. But here's the short version of it. You crush items down into the Essence Forge, and it breaks materials down. So when you get all that magic equipment and adventuring items that you just don't want and you don't want to sell them, you press them into this forge, it mutates them down to the gold points value, and then you can spend up to 8 hours attempting to create any magic item that you have a formula for, and the forge will generate this item using the victory point system on how well your rolls are, and it does it in 1 day. Now, as you can see, there's results over here on the side. If you do really poorly, you can just get a replica that doesn't do the thing. You can only get the item that's temporary for 24 hours. You can craft the item as it is, or you can potentially get a better magic item than what you set out to do. This is the type of crafting I was hoping for all around, because I dislike crafting in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's really just there in case you have a town that doesn't have the thing in it you want. I really like crafting to be a compelling option to do, but I also play games with lots of downtime and room in them to make things happen. So sometimes it makes sense to take 3 weeks off adventuring to let your crafter make some stuff for the party on the cheap and trade time for money instead of just buying what you want. So anyways, I really like what the Essence Forge does, and like I said, I'm going to make a whole video just about it because it's nuts and it's kind of in depth. Psych Salts, pretty cool item to help get rid of influences. So if someone's dominated, controlled by a vampire, you might say, it's a good way to remove that from them, kind of like smelling salts, but to get rid of controlling magics. Bitter Blood Elixir, if you don't want a vampire to bite you, is a pretty cool little item. Some new hazards, some new monsters, and some setting articles. So again, packed full of stuff. The Essence Forge, super, super cool. And in the third book of this AP, you get a new Arcane School. So yeah, if you're playing a wizard, you've got more options. This all has to do around tech and magic working together, a few new ion stones, as well as some cool gadgets like a gravity inverter, which is pretty much just a bomb you throw into people to flip which direction gravity goes around them, or a nap gas dispenser, which is yet another grenade that you just throw in and dispenses sleeping gas. So lots of cool, interesting things. The schematic scanner, this is a repository for all of your formulas. So if you're a crafter, it scans the formula and has an infinite amount of storage. And then the security badge, which is like the mall cop badge of slowing. You wear this badge, you get a +1 item bonus to intimidate, and it comes with an activation that you just get to tell people, hey, stop right there, DC 23, so it'll eventually, phase itself out of being useful. But on a success, the target is slowed 1, a magic item that on a failure, essentially, so they save against your attempt, and they're at least slowed 1, that's pretty cool. On top of just the slowed 1, it is compelled on what it must do at the beginning of the next turn. It must stand in place, which means it can't move, or it has to release what it's holding. So like a full disarm or a restrain. Now they don't have the restrain penalty, they're just not allowed to move, But that's pretty, I mean, especially if you're in a campaign setting where someone's trying to escape and you're chasing them. Gosh, I can't think of how many times I wished I could just be like, hey, stop there, and they listen to me. On a success, it's crazy. On a failure, they're slowed 2, and they have to do both of those things, so they drop what they're holding and they stay in place. On a critical failure, slowed 3, and spends its next turn to stand in place, release what it's holding, and place its hands in the air. Wild to me that this is just a pretty inexpensive item, 360 gold. I mean, honestly, you should almost just pool your money together and everyone in the party should get this, because there's so many instances where that thing would be valuable. Wide variety of new hazards, a couple new monsters, setting article, a new siege weapon, a bolt emitter. Well, that's kind of wild. This thing just shoots out magical ballista bolts, and it doesn't have ammunition because it's infinite. It just literally shoots raw magical energy. That's pretty neat. 2 new spells and the Strigoi trait. No description provided. So that's all the new stuff that's hit Archives of Nethys that has shown up from Paizo. My wolfhound has come over telling me it is about breakfast time, so I need to wrap this video up. As always, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, please give a like and subscribe. It means a lot as we continue to grow here, as I have restarted giving you guys some regular content. I hope you've been enjoying what we've been putting out. I'm going to wish you a fantastic time on your 20-side adventures. We'll catch you next time.